It's fun. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Good.
We were talking off air a little bit about, and I think this is fair to kind of discuss. A lot of people see us in this form that's pretty polished and kind and loving
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully.
and intending to generate the best outcome for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's sort of what you get when you do the right things to spend time with us, whether it's by friendship, whether you hire us, like whatever the case may be. But we talk about this privately, but there's not a lot of empathy given to the human that maybe sits behind that person you see that desires the best outcome from you, that seems overly invested in your outcome. But like what happens when the laptop closes or when that person walks out the door? You
Right.
know? And
True.
it's not like we just turn into hateful heathens. Like it's not that. But we have a life to live. You and me, and
Right.
I cried to you. You warned me about these things long ago, and I cried to you last month and months before about that boundary and really struggling with that. So I wanted to highlight that for people who are practitioners or are gifted or are those friends that are always the ear, always the shoulder. It's kind of interesting when people start tapping on you like, but don't you have more of a shoulder? Don't you have more ears? For me, though, specifically.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
So,
Well,
we're-
and it's true. It's a wonderful, wonderful task, but it could be a very daunting task.
well, there's an argument to like suggest that we are not always the most well equipped at filling our own tanks anyway. You know what I mean? The things that
True.
unlocked our gifts were usually not the most fun. So one of the prices sometimes we might pay for that hypersensitivity from a young age is maybe the A plus B equals C algorithm to how to refill your tank or how to put yourself first. I know I'm terrible at that, but
Well,
then I
it's
bite
hard
myself
to
in the
do.
butt with it.
Well, you do have to be mindful of that because, again, you can't draw from a dry well. So you want to make sure that you have something to give when you're at the bottom. And so you do need that time off. It's
Oh,
so funny. One of my favorite things, and also really not my favorite thing, but one of the classics, we'll call it classics. We do have busy lives. We work all the time. And I have a family, I have, cats. I have a son who's here most of the time, and I have a lot going on in my own backyard. But I love this. This is the comment I get from so many people that know me. Terri, you need to take some time off. Put your feet up. Shut your phone off. Just take a day off. You can have a day off. Take a day off and don't answer another text message. And it's funny because they're the
unless
ones,
it's from me.
right? Because they're the ones that send me 5 and 6 a day. And or the just one more question, please. Just one more question. Well, times 60 people that have sent me that same exact message Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Mm,
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So sometimes, as we are trying our best to reach everyone, we recognize that you're important. You're very important to us. But you're number 353. If you were at the Central Market meat counter, you got yourself some time to wait, okay? Because you just drew 353 out of all the people waiting. So please be patient with that as well.
I agree entirely, and I think it's really easy to like hard. I mean, I'll speak for myself. It's hard to not feel almost caustically aggressive sometimes for me because I have a hot temper, as you know, and I need to watch what I say more, but I don't sometimes. And it's kind of, it makes me, you really see the polarity because you get off of a reading and you're like, oh my God, I love them and I hope their divorce goes great and I just want da 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 da. And then 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes later, I could sit there thinking like, why can't you just figure it out yourself? And you're like, I'm not even in the business of that. Like it's bad for my business if other people start figuring it out. So it is really funny. Like I love people. And then the same reasons that I love them, that I find that service to them so important, so valuable. If I'm low sleep, if I'm low sugar, blood sugar, I'm ready to fight. And maybe
And
as I get
and and
older.
I do understand that. And again, please, for all the listeners out there, we love you all. We're not being negative Nellies. We're just simply making a statement. And I mean this wholeheartedly. If you text me Monday and you don't hear back from me Wednesday, call it a blessing because Not everybody hears back from me in 2 days. It's just too busy. It's just too many of you all that I love dearly, but the between the messages, you can't fathom what 100 messages looks like in an afternoon. I'd say
Mm.
you've seen 3 phones and about 2 different emails and a few other places. So a lot of data, a lot of stuff going on. People, we love you.
And I've been feeling that. I mean, there's something people are going through some really hard times right now. It's just in the energy.
Yeah.
And that seems like such a cop out to say, but it really is true. I felt it the other day. 0 things were wrong in the day itself. And from the moment I woke up, the day felt weird. And then I talked to a friend of mine who's very, very of the earth. This older man who is just, he's a regular, not knowingly spiritual, but deeply spiritual.
Hmm.
And I said, and he's just a fisher. He's just a wildlife man, right? And I said, hey, I said, it's kind of weird today. He said, it's felt weird since I got up. And I
I
said,
love
oh
it.
my God, me too.
Yep, exactly. And he has no idea why, and how
Yeah.
either.
That was so validated because he is the opposite of woo woo. And yet I bet you he could tell me exactly what a wolf in the forest is thinking and worrying about.
I bet he could. That's
Isn't
exactly
that
right.
cool?
I love it. I absolutely love it. There is a lot going on right now, and you can feel it. And people are questioning it. They're feeling insecure about it. And, whether they have, again, whatever part of their energy believes in what we do or doesn't believe in what we do, wherever they are on that scale, they're all feeling it. And it's
Hmm.
it's quite profound. It's quite profound.
Well, I think so. Thank goodness. And I will say this from my life has gotten a little bit more manageable in the work related things.
Good.
And it's allowed me more time to go with the flow of where I'm at. Thank goodness.
Good.
And I know but so when things started to feel so weird, I went full hermit mode and I started just studying. It was after the audience doesn't know, but we were supposed to record last week or 2 weeks, but I had some stuff going on, which I think I talked about in the little 30-minute thing I did just so that, and literally I remember just thinking, I just need to go learn something. Like I need to go dig into something because I can't relate with what's happening right now. And I choose not to go into it. Maybe sometimes I wonder, like, maybe that's a laziness factor, but there's certainly something of, ooh, it's feeling real spicy
Right.
and argumentative.
Right. No, I don't feel that it has anything to do with laziness. It's self-preservation. Sometimes you have to step back because, either you're going to be the fire or you're going to be in the fire.
Mm.
So you have to be careful.
And I didn't, so everybody has different cycles. And that's a cycle I just thought that was a cycle for somebody else, some other collective of energy. Cause it felt like, or maybe I got it out of the way early from that other altercation, but it just felt like there was a desire to be not understood. And I feel it might be still a little bit active. Do you think so?
I feel a little bit.
But it's tapering.
It's tapering. It is definitely tapering, but it's still active.
Yeah.
It's still present.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a thought form that arrived from some of the stuff I was dealing with this past week, because part of it always is if I freak out, I always automatic write because
Good.
I've gotten
It
pretty
helps.
good at getting decent messages that are very both strong but loving, and it just works.
Good.
But there wasn't that question I've always kind of told you about for years now has been plaguing me. And it's this petulant, woe is me vibe a little bit. I'll own that. But it's almost like, why do I lose people just because I'm doing cool stuff? Like and I can get really in the ego with that, but I can also get actively hurt with it. And it was almost like my guides were saying, you're missing a component here that you don't understand. So we'll help you understand that because you're not moving through this well. And they were right. It's been years. Like I'm that was the one thing that I just couldn't was breaking my ability to connect in the future because it didn't make
Right.
sense and the outcome
Well,
seemed
it makes you
pretty
feel
stable.
bad. Right.
So here's what they were communicating to me, and I'm curious about what you think. Okay. This idea, and again, you know this, and I was trying to explain this to a student, but you know how energy is just impressions. So I'm
Okay. Yeah.
articulating, but I wish other people could understand. They didn't just say this to me, but it's just an impression, and I'm having to flesh it out.
Right. It can be both. It can be there's something that they literally hear externally.
Yes,
But you're
well, for
right.
me, I should say, sorry. I kind of feel like I got this. I would hear it more sentence based and clarification if I was misunderstanding, but this was just an idea that was given. Okay. So if you were sitting in your chair over there and you want ice cream, which I thought this was so funny because they used ice cream, and you and I both know why that's beautiful. But they really did. They used ice cream as the example for me. And they said, imagine that you're over there and you're just sitting there thinking about wanting ice cream, and
Yes.
you don't move. You
Right.
don't get up. You don't do anything for it. This is what and it sounds crazy. Life wants to live to completion. So
Yes.
the idea of having ice cream is now desiring to be completed, and it doesn't care if it's by you anymore. And so just like oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. Just like we trade energy like a good mood or a bad mood.
Right.
If I'm next to you and I'm just out living my life, I don't even care about ice cream. But that thought form sees I have a higher chance of getting to completion in that energy field.
Yes.
I'm going to go do that.
Right.
And now you're
Totally
looking at
agree.
me like, why do you have ice cream? I've been wanting ice cream this whole time. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't even value ice cream at the same rate that you do. I don't know why I'm eating ice cream.
Exactly.
And
So
then
then is it the power of suggestion? Is it power of the subconscious mind? Or is it energy flowing to others?
the way they described it was that it was that the soul that lost that fruition, they were indicating that there is some primordial understanding that you've taken something from them, and that will sour, and there's a sourness that just will begin to develop. But they spoke about it from this perspective of it has to be a vibrational, almost opposite enough. Because like if you're driven and I'm driven, I'm not taking anything from you and you're not from me.
Right.
We're not at
In the
the
same
right
mode,
frequency
right.
to trade. But if someone is, because I'm always chaotically acting and I fail more than I win, but I'm still always doing stuff. The only people that feel that way, that I can trigger like that, are those that are of the opposite polarity. But then that they were indicating that also don't forget that you draw them, because it's the polar opposite. Like you have a magnetic attraction to each other. And so I just had bad guidelines because I was making these relationships when I was a lot younger and a lot more submissive and a lot of these other things. But it was natural and nothing that I did wrong to attract, just like them attracting me. Like it's just life, it's energy.
It's energy.
But the mistake maybe was me elevating that to a level of friendship that wasn't possibly able to come together in the way that we would have hoped.
Exactly.
It made me so much less I mean, God, I thought, dare you, Spirit, put me in a position to feel empathy to the people that I'm trying to feel have wronged me severely. Right? But then I
I
thought,
love it.
how can if that's true, if that is the random possibility of life that they can't stop, and because my next question to my guides was, can you meditate to prevent that from happening? And they said, this is the nature of life and it exists outside of our avatar. Like
Makes sense.
anything will always try to achieve life and then death, like the process of, and so, and then that just made me think, how would it feel if you were by somebody that you didn't know every time, like by knowing this, they're just kind of getting all you want? Like I'd be frustrated too. I don't know that I'd feel warmly either. And if I didn't understand why on top of it, like that would be painful.
It would be. That makes sense.
And so I just think that has changed that. But then I thought, what a interesting aspect of life, because then I thought it made me competitive. I'm like, over my dead body, will any of the things I want wind up in someone else's energy field? I need to make sure that I'm acting on the stuff that I
Good
want
luck
to
with
see in my
that.
life.
Good luck with that.
Just like you can't get them all.
No, you can't.
But
It's
I
impossible.
love the idea of, okay, like I don't want to see that dream. I need to make sure I make room for that. Like I could lay in my bed and doom scroll on my phone, which I do a lot. Like
Doom scroll. Is that
yeah,
what you call it? Doom
yeah, like
scroll?
you just get lost. It's just there's nothing. It's a black
Gosh,
hole.
that's too funny. Doom scroll. I'm never gonna forget that.
Yeah, is it, and I do that a lot, but like maybe if they're like, oh, I want to get into jujitsu, maybe you need to schedule that appointment. So I did. It's like, I don't want to meet somebody next year that I admire a lot and they're just amazing at jujitsu and they started last year, which I was supposed to do. Like, okay, I need to go. And So it made me significantly less bitter,
Good.
significantly less bitter about some things. And also just like delighted at the thought of like, it's like my cats. I will go out of my way and love them and hug them so that they know how much I love them. It's not a wrong thing to do that with like the things I want for my life. It's like, oh, I need to go love and hug that. Or it might go away. It might find someone more motivated. Like, no, I love you. I'll go do like it's $60 a month. I have that. Let's just do the thing. You know,
Very cool. I love it. I'm glad you're doing that. Now I'll be afraid of you.
no, 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 God,
Either that
no.
or we'll go for a lot of long walks down dark streets, right?
No, I'm so it's very interesting to me the avenues of you've talked about this before and I'm starting to feel it and it's a weird thought, but it's getting less and less easy to invest in the material outcomes of things. And I don't know if that's a timeline thing. I think it might be. I really do. I think that there's all the clarifying that I keep talking about, I keep referencing in the future. I think that creates a lot of obsolete nature to some of the things that we concern about.
Well, and it would, and I do the same. So I understand where you're coming from. That you're right.
And then it just kind of it's made it well, you talked about like I had this experience the other day, phasing into this existence as though like, oh, I forgot I have to work tomorrow and that matters because there's money and that money matters because I have to pay rent. It's almost like I had to walk myself through that, which is so ridiculous because I've been living that forever and you have to, but it was a weird like I forgot that is a component here.
Yes. Well, and that's not a bad thing. If you can forget the fact that you have to work the next day, sometimes that's a blessing.
Maybe you're probably not wrong because you're right because there are people who don't ever think about anything else.
Right. There
And
are a
that's
lot of people that think and obsess about work. They start on Sunday morning on the Monday through Friday type of job, and they might as well just go to work on Sunday because they're already there in their heads because they're so caught up in that energy.
dang.
A lot of people do that. It's really kind of scary. It's like, don't you want a little more freedom, a little more time off from worry? I guess not.
Well, I have had this idea in the back of my head for like 3 months, not maybe 2 months. And we don't have to do it today, but I wanted to get permission from Mr. I Brutus. I thought, you know how there was that dinner with the vampire?
Yes.
Well, I thought it'd be if he's open to it, just like questions for him about humanity. Like, what's your most annoying client that Terry has? How do you feel about this
Oh,
existence?
I love
I thought
that.
that'd just be fun and very honoring.
It would be
And
very fun and honoring. I would
a
love
lot
that.
of a lot of our clients, because especially because of the class you teach about meeting your spirit guides, but
Yes.
so many clients really are like, what are the guides like? How are they, and I just think that'd be cute and fun and like a
Oh, that
lovely.
would be a lot of fun. That would be a
Okay,
lot of fun.
okay,
Today's not the
perfect.
best day for
Yes,
because I
and
think
I'll
I
have some
Brutus is a little
questions.
afraid of me today.
That's fair,
I
honestly.
Brutus is like, she's in a bad mood. I better be very still.
That's that is very understandable. And, I was, in the sort of I had a client or a student and she had this experience where she just moved and a lot of chaos occurred, blah, blah, blah. But she's out on the ocean side crying because the sunset doesn't feel the same there as Texas. She's like, I never even liked Texas. Like, why am I, da, da, da. And she asked her team essentially to show her something in the photos that she took. And so she's going through all these photos and then she realizes that she just had taken in this amalgamation of photos the most beautiful sunset photo she's ever taken. But she was too busy zooming in, trying to find something in it that showed. And I was like, dang. I was like, I feel like the student right now. And she sent the photo and it was gorgeous.
See, you're right. We get busy looking for all the things that we are troubled by or worried by or assume will be there, and we miss all the things that are right in front of our faces. The good stuff.
Well, true. That's a great, perfect point. Yes, and I guess I was thinking more for the guides and for her guides, and it's like I wonder if they're just like, we don't. I'm not the best listener. It's different when you listen to your guides for other people. It is very different when they're yours. We both know this. You blow right past, and then you're like, I'm probably just crazy, and move on. And it's like, it's not any different for us. I promise you.
No, it's not.
And I'm sure they're like, it's this picture. Look how pretty it is. And she's like, but what about is there a sign in the ripples?
That's right. I'm looking for an orb somewhere in this
Yes.
picture.
I don't know if I could be a guide yet. I'm too impatient.
Well, again, some of these guides, they are not just all the kumbayas. They come from this world. They go into the spirit world. They decide to do this, and there's also speculation that some of them decide, no, thank you, I don't want to be their guides. I want to just stop this.
Well, with the ones that sort of are more fleeting, the reason in a season,
Yep.
I wonder if there is a maxing out of like meaning or fulfillment. Just like for us, it's like if you went and you cleaned the same type of pipe every day,
Right.
then like at some point you'd kind of be bored with cleaning that pipe for people.
Well, sure. And I agree with that. It's funny as you're talking, I'm getting this, because my mind sometimes thinks in,
Mhm.
overdrive. And I'm thinking of Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life, the angel that got
Yes,
his wings. In my world, my ADHD world, I would be like, okay, give me some temporary assignments. Where do I go now? Okay, can I do
yes.
this? Let me go do this. Where am I going now? Okay. Oh no, that sounds boring. What about this?
That's so true. Well, it's like, I just as you were talking, I was saying, like, imagine somebody giving out tickets. You're like, "Here's the ticket." But in which, if you go in, they give you a ticket and you have to fill out all the stuff. They don't want you to talk to them. And
Oh
I
my
feel like
God.
you would fill out the most complicated ticket and you'd be like, "All right, give me a little bit of this. I'll handle that. And then give me somebody with this and da 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 da." And it would just be a filled out ticket of like, "Here's what I would like to go help people with." And they're like, "Whoa, Terry.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what do you go? Okay.
See you in 4 lifetimes."
It's going to be fun being a guide someday.
You know? Well, so it's kind of a unique thing because as we have this, I don't know what you want to call it, shifting of an age,
Yeah,
to
that
any
sounds
to
good.
any intensity that requires and entails. There is an interesting shift from like what the soul has to go through again. And I sometimes wonder like the guides have to sort of there has to be a little bit of a changing of the guard
There
because
has to be.
if it goes from high civilization to the natural state of de-evolution, right now there's guides who are helping us with IT stuff.
Right.
Well,
That's
when we
right.
shift into this different state and we need to figure out how to do fire, you know, that's got to be somebody.
It's
I
got
don't
to
know if it's
be.
the IT guide.
Well, and when you think about it, we've got this mindset that the guides are all these ancient beings, right? That, chiseled on a stone tablet, their message. And now we have someone as a season or a reason guide that's helping us formulate a program. And you're thinking, how the heck do you know that? Are you from the future? Where are you? Makes you wonder,
Right.
you know?
Well, in over the past 4 or 5 days, I feel that there's been an unlocking of just understanding patterns that are necessary. Again, everything feels so less personal. And I think it really is. So if that's the case, right? If the casing of our environment is not so personal, then it really just means that everything we do is what makes it personal.
Makes it personal. Yeah.
Then it doesn't to me, it's like I don't feel like I have to be so worried about the fate of humanity. And I know that sounds really intense. Not that I've ever been overly worried with it, but I've always wanted to ensure that I had an idea of something, right? It's the scribe energy, it's the historian energy in me that I want to know deeply. I want to know. But they were kind of like, yeah, but so, this is the nature of it. Like you have that pattern in your system. You're supposed to be overly curious about this. We need people like that. Like, but not everyone else has that patterning. They're not going to understand why that's interesting or important to you. And I think that's what's been like, okay, cool. I don't have to go herald this. I can just collect the knowledge and know it.
That's right. I
That's
know
my
it.
job.
Yep.
And that feels good.
That's exactly right. Yes, indeed. Oh,
But
I love it. We never know where we're going until we get there.
well, you made a comment a while ago. We were at your house and I was asking you about Just like the job that I feel we have coming up, the shepherd energy, the fact that we're supposed to kind of be there as
Mhm.
as a stable thing. Sorry. And you made a statement and you said, I'm going to have to go back. You said, I'm going to have to, not only am I going to be lingering in this particular iteration, I'm going to go back and go with the rest of them. And I believe I understand what you mean now. And I understand to what degree you were referring to. And it's heartbreaking to me because I think I understand what that entails, but it makes me wonder, you had made also other comments about the fact that there's signs of this being you and Brian meeting, like there's obvious closures that are coming down.
Absolutely.
Do you look at when you get the feeling of if you have to come back and help with the lingering years, if our soul, like if we do it, whatever, do you look at that like, how do you keep that from being a fearful thought just as a human?
That's a good question. How to keep it from being fearful by not focusing on it from a human standpoint is the best way. And I did mean what I say and what I said about the return. There will be a lot of ascension that will be occurring and happening, and there is a process already in the works.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be those that do not ascend,
Yeah.
and they are a subset also worth tending to
Thousand
and
percent.
caring for. And so is it the best alternative? Well, no, coming back and doing it in that realm, in that way, is maybe not as good as what it would be elsewhere. But there is also, I feel, at least from my standpoint, a responsibility there. It'd be really, good to go cut and run and go get the ice cream, and get it
Right.
going on. But I also feel that perhaps maybe by coming back and rejoining those that need a little bit more help, maybe there is a greater reward
Mm-hmm.
later on. Maybe the reward of being patient and being accepting and helping others is going to be kind of the start of another part of a ascension that's just not as I don't know, available.
Well, so this kind of thing that I came into understanding too it has a lot of empathy, and that this is going to be weird, to the disembodied. I think I understand that a little bit more now from the perspective of we have the access point of death. We get to regroup. We get to
Yes.
take peace, take
Yes.
rest with our loved ones, and then we
Yes.
come back in.
Yes.
And whatever allows that and whatever allows that to be done on a cycle is important and good.
I
But
agree.
something seems to have severed certain souls. I'm not going into the religious background because I think this process predates that, frankly. But something has disconnected them from the ability to die in the same way that we do. Why would you not go absolutely insane? And why would you not feel anything but rage towards the people that you see as like, you're not different than me. We both were soul bearing, but something has happened. And that to me changes almost. Not that I'm going to go dance with anything of that nature by any stretch. I have a lot of healthy respect, but it makes me feel like I'm going to let that go be a battle for those that really want to have that battle, for sure, for sure. But I don't feel a responsibility or animosity. I'm like, we're just trying to get to the finish line like you. And there's some choices that have been made to just become the rulers of this realm. That's not a choice I want to make. I'm not going to hate you for making it though. Like, I
Exactly.
don't know if I would make a different choice in your situation if I couldn't find rest, if I couldn't go back to source for briefly, all these things, right?
Exactly.
That sort of has me, it's what made me really think about what you said about I'm gonna have to come back and like there's good to be done there and there's a reason for it. Because it's just like you can't in this assumption that because I don't think I'm done. I don't have any, feelings around that. But in the situation where I thought maybe I was, it's like there's a whole other cycle that everyone's got to do, and then they'll have their chance again. But in the meantime, the path to that as the resets occur almost on a mathematic equation, it's like that's scary. It creates disunity, but it also, you'd want people there. My God, like you would need people there who
You
are
would
like, oh,
need
this is
people there.
okay. Like,
Right.
we're going to be
You would
okay.
need people there.
Yeah. Like that is because you're going to have plenty of things over here saying, follow me, follow me. I'll make it okay. You're like, no,
Follow
we
me
need to
to
have a
greener
people on the ground.
pastures.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. And it's hard to put into words that really make sense rather than just the feeling that comes with it, which is, you know, it is a feeling. It's a knowingness. It's a knowing that yes, there's going to be change and there's going to be substantial change. There's going to be whatever you want to call it. You know, the word ascension has been so overused, but I feel that there's really, it kind of sums it up pretty well. You're ascending to something greater than what is in the physical world. But not everybody is going to be all, you know, chanting the Kumbaya song on their way up to heaven or wherever it may be for you. There are going to be times and places and things and events and people that just aren't going that direction yet. And, you know, if we see this big, you know, finish line in the sky, then everyone should finish, right? And if
Right.
everyone is not finishing, well, who's going to remain the mentors for those that are struggling along the track?
Especially if this place is lit with a false light.
If this play right, depending exactly, you know. And so again, you know, is it speculation? Is it wishful thinking? Is it worried thinking? It's a host of all of the above. But the truthism is there's going to be something changing for each and every one of us. And it's likely to be more than just we were born and now we're going to just die. So
Right.
anything 1% greater than that puts us in a whole new realm of what we are here to do, right? Puts us in the spiritual realm. So again, I wish I know, I feel like I'm spinning a web on this, making it more complex than it
No, I
needs to
think you're,
be.
oh, you're making perfect, at least.
But you know, ascend as you shall, because if you are ascending, you've done good. You've done the right thing for you, hopefully, and it makes sense for this to be occurring. If you are not, for whatever reason, you're still worthy of change. You're still, you know, in a position for change. And I do feel that there needs to be those that will be change meisters that'll be here helping them out.
Well, if we say that this is a school of life, then, and if we also say that we're part God, which a lot of the mystics and a lot of the religions do articulate, either we're the son of
Absolutely.
or we are the embodiment of, the way that they kind of gave this to me recently was, we're literally, if you want to hold a gun, we're in the place where you get your CHL. We are proving that we have creative power and that we can use it in a healthy way. I
Yeah.
don't think so. Then that calls into, they kept saying it's a nothing is more important. You know, we've all had discussions, you, me, Taylor, about what's the meaning. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it evil? Is it to do right? And in the, I mean, who knows if this is the right answer, but I got, it is an assessment of what you do with power. It's just, what do you do with your creative powers? Are you destructive? Are you not? It's going to pretty much sum up. Can you go play with the others? If you turn out to be destructive, it's just not going to go great. They're not going to let you have a gun yet. And I
Right.
think that that's kind of maybe where the ascension level sits. It's not really a righteousness. It's not that you prayed the best. It's not that you didn't pray at all. It's more like, did you come into knowingness of yourself and who you are? Did you come into faith that this reality can bend to us, that we do have creative elements, that we do have builder protocols here, architectural protocols here? Or do you not believe that at all? And there's a lot about our existence that tries to convince us it's not true. So we
There
kind of
really
already
is.
know going in, we're going to be told you're not this. We're going to be told you have no power. You're going to be told
Oh,
you can't create.
absolutely.
How dare you?
Right. So true. You know, I look at it from a very simple assessment. Who have you helped and who have you hurt?
Mm,
And you know, when you at the end of the day, you should have helped more people than you hurt. You're going to
mm,
affect people whether you think you do or not. I'm sure during the course of a week, I probably hurt 5 or 6 people's feelings, not because my intention was to hurt their feelings, but their take of it is that it was not what they wanted to hear. So in that instance, it would have hurt their feelings.
hmm.
So I do look at things more with that balance. You know, who have you helped and who have you hurt? And if you, without a doubt, that you feel that you've helped more and it's not an ego based decision, then
Mm,
I feel that you're making a lot of good moves forward.
you're gonna be okay.
You're going to be okay. Now, again, people don't always look at life that way, because there's several people that would dispute that immediately with me and say, listen, there are a lot of really bad people that do a lot of bad things, that have all the goods, have all the toys, have all the life. How dare they? Well, you probably did the last time you were here. You just don't
Great
remember.
point.
So don't be envious of the people around you that seem to have it great this lifetime, because they may have been living off from, the dust of the roads that lifetime before.
That's
So
an excellent point.
you have to have a little bit more balance in the impression of things, and not look at everything just from an elementary look of it's this or that.
Well, in this situation where, because this energy got brought up to me as I was hermiting and I guess learning. Remember, my friend who I'm trying to figure out how to do this the right way. You said that she had ancient energy. You said that she had selected an avatar very similar to the one she had now many lifetimes. So, there's an indication to me that some souls have a knowing of the encapsulation body that we have. And they have just chosen that there is not a desire to exit, that they're going to rule here.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, then on top of that, there's a coagulation of another storyline that you're familiar with, but where this individual was also somebody who, and again, at the time I was training under you, I'm like, she's saying the spirits can talk. I'm starting to see that they can. And now my friend's saying she drinks blood. Right. And in all of it, you just don't quite realize how weird that one was. And all, you're like, ooh. And I look back and I remember, I love her.
Remember that.
I was 10 years into a friendship with her. She has a very medically proven weird blood disorder. Her father has it too. And then when I think back on, there's storylines out there of these individuals who their bloodlines have made decisions the way in the past, and that they have chosen certain other choices. And now you have somebody in modern America. I highly doubt she remembers any of these deals, probably didn't
Probably
actively
not.
partake in any of them.
Exactly.
And then she's just not evolving. And I don't know. I thought about that in like pain, because I thought there is not anyone that can describe to her why she has that blood issue. I think now I understand why. She doesn't understand. It's almost like the memory of what would fulfill the rest of that promise, the happiness, the glory, all the things. She doesn't know how to complete that. So now you're like, you have a blood disorder and you're very, very intelligent, all these things. But I remember, I can feel like she wants to be happy. I really do think that.
But it's very, very foreign to her. Happiness
And
is
it's
not
not even
something
normal
that's
to want it.
right. There's no blueprint for her for happiness. And
So,
so that's a difficult task, which is unfortunate, because she could be happy under the right terms and the right understandings of things. But no, I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's heartbreaking.
and you can't, it made me think, it's much easier to sit and say, oh my God, the world is run by this knowing cabal. And it's like, again, we'll probably cycle through it again, but like 99.9% of any of the offspring of these individuals, because I think I know one, personally know her, like love her, even though we're not friends anymore. But it's
Right.
like, that is the same bloodline and not the same. And I know that. Beautiful and sad and all the things, because it means that they can come back because she's
That's right.
trying.
Yes.
Doesn't mean I have to be there for it, because that wore my ass out.
Right. Well,
I love
did.
her.
I remember that. Yes,
It's
it
just
did.
draining.
I remember that.
And I remember you were so sweet. Oh my God. I remember coming to you saying, I want to help her. Like if I test my blood and it's clean, like is that, I don't know. And you were so sweet. I just think maybe that's a bad idea. I said, yes, ma'am. And I never thought about it again. Now, 5 years later, I was like, the gravity of what was being asked of me is so insane. And because you knew that would probably spook me, you were like, yeah, that's probably not the best. I was like, okay, next class. Is that not insane?
That is really
Octaves.
wild. I remember that. Yes.
And you just were so chill. I'm thankful I have that experience with you, because now if somebody comes to me and says that, I'll know to play it cool.
Right.
But like, that was insane. That's insane. And yet, I was just someone who wanted to help a friend, and you were my mentor saying, that's probably not a great idea. Not like that.
Probably not the best thought.
You know, you live and you learn.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's funny.
But on that note, next week, maybe we can have dinner with Brutus. And that
I
would, or
love that. And I
that would be
promise I'm
cute.
going to have more energy.
You
Again,
you don't have
because,
to. Next week,
well,
you
that's
can
true.
say,
I'll step
Brutus ain't
out.
here.
Well, it's funny. That's right. I'll say, I Brutus handle it. I'm stepping away. I'm gonna go sit in the chair over there and take a nap. That'll be
No,
fun. That'll be
I
fun.
love you. And I'm sorry. I know the draining. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere, and it's the complexities and the beauty of life all rolled into one big ball of wax. And so you can't really get mad at things, but it takes your energy. And I feel like there's just a lot of energy pulls right now, and everyone's feeling it, and so everyone's kind of grabbing on and trying to identify with calm. So if you're not feeling calm, it's really hard for someone to grab a hold for their calm. And so it's
Oh,
just a lot of
because it's already
vibration.
frantic on arrival.
Very much so. I've got a lot of people around me that are very frantic. And it's, you can't absorb that, because if you absorb it, then you're not helping. You're actually hindering them, because you're not giving them any good advice. But it is a little different right now in energetically.
Well, we will I just got angry, because on one hand, it's like it's that way for us too.
Well,
But
it is. But and again,
I'm such a
and
baby. I'm like, Meh.
no, it's not. No, I don't want you to say that, because that's not true. Again, taking care of oneself, self-preservation, is really the key to being able to be who we are. Because if we don't have it for ourselves, there's no extra for anybody else.
Man.
Realistically, the advice would be very watered down, very diluted, and not A plus. So we have to take the breaks. We have to shield and to block our energies. But sometimes there's just so much else around that clearing and grounding isn't just enough, because in the common everyday world, there's a lot of stress.
Mm-hmm.
Just an abundance of uncertainty and just things that, don't make sense.
Well, and one thing that, you've remained so epically graceful, given the fact that you just had a shoulder replacement and severe issues in your lower back. And you're just like, I mean, I don't know where I would situate myself in energy, because nothing's wrong physically with me and I already feel a little irritated. And then here you are, and I can't imagine that you got asked, how are you, that much that it wasn't followed up with, but also. So I love you, and I know you've been going through it and
It's
just
been
somehow so
crazy.
graceful.
Well, and again, the thing that this is my little 30, not 30-second, 15-second,
Yeah.
when you have to take 2 breaks while you're doing dishes because your lower back is killing you for standing up. It's that's what I'm dealing with. And it's not that it's taking away from my ability, because I've had someone make a remark, oh gosh, if you're ill, then you're not giving good advice. Oh, honey, if that was the case,
My God.
I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, okay? And the bottom line is, I'm not here when I'm talking to you anyway, okay?
Exactly.
And if anything, anyone who does this from love is going to feel such a good, selfish dose of adrenaline and endorphins when they help people. That's kind of the best fuel in town. That's gonna take any Xanax and bust it all to hell, because being there to help
Yeah.
others really is your best medicine. It really is. And I'm not saying that because it sounds good. But
No, I agree with you.
when you're doing the right thing, the endorphins are just
It
really at
breaks
their
through
highest.
depression
It does break through depression.
for me.
Yep, it does. And making a difference is what we're here for. So who have you helped today and who have you hurt today? And if you have an imbalance there, you're not ready to call it a day, right? You got to fix it, whatever that is.
I
Giving an
love
extra
that.
smile, maybe giving an extra good night to someone on a text, as we're what is it called? It's surfing. No, it's scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling. We're going to
Yes.
change that from doom. Nothing should be doomed. Let's see.
Well, that's it. So that's the thing, right? Like, I didn't create that. That's what the BetterHelp, all the ads. They're like, quit doom scrolling, go get some help. And I'm sitting there doom scrolling. I'm like, I do need some help.
Oh, I love. Okay, so it's doom. I gotta write that down, because I'm an old person here. So
Yeah.
doom.
Yeah, that's a new phrase, but it's kind of accurate for me, at least,
I
because
don't
I'm
even know
getting
how to
nothing
spell
done.
doom. Oh my gosh! I
Yeah,
just forgot how to spell it. I did for a minute. I'm like, doom. I try not to use the word doom very often in my
It's
vocabulary.
probably for the
I'm
best.
like, doom. How the hell do you spell doom? Is it like dunes, like the sands, or is it?
The sand dunes.
Got to put an extra pump on that one. That's M. So we're going to from doom scrolling. Gosh, something more positive. How about, I don't know. I'll think of something clever. And if I won't, maybe our Brutus will come up with the next go around. But
Yes.
you never know, right?
I love it.
Scrolling.
I wonder if guides, what would they do? Like, do you go and shave? Like, what do you do before an interview if you're a guide? You know what I mean?
I know.
After shave, like, how does that work?
Well, you know, it was so funny. If you've never watched the movie Michael, you should. Have you watched Michael?
I don't think so.
It's with John Travolta. It's an old movie. Yes, I'm old, so I watch old movies. Not that old, though. If they're all dead, I don't want to watch them anymore. But I really don't.
That's a good point.
I can't. Oh, my God.
But you like the Clarence one. Was that weird for you?
That, but they're all dead. Most of them.
Right.
And so I see them all as spirits, but it's Christmas, so I look at it
Do
as
they come
Christmas.
to you while you're watching it? What did they say?
Would they all say whatever they want to? They're like,
oh my God.
So what do you think of this?
Oh my God. They're like, tell me you like my movie? That's great.
The neighbors, go back in the screen, please.
They're like, my daughter lives in Plattsburgh.
Yeah.
Go tell her I love her. You're like, no, I can't. I'm in here. I'm watching a movie.
And I do. I know that sounds crazy, but really, and since I was a little girl, I would always think, if they're dead, it's the ones I'm watching now. Because
it's interesting.
It's energy, you know?
Yes.
And I don't even remember what the question was, because see, I'm old. What would
do they? Oh, about Travolta, the movie, Michael.
Thank you, Michael is. You know, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to write it down because obviously
okay,
I won't remember it later, right?
Same.
It's with John Travolta, and it's about, again, he's not the nicest angel, okay? But he is what I also see angels as, okay? I'm sorry. I know they're all pristine, and they're carrying the sword, and it's glistening because they've been polishing it all week long. And, you know, there's not a spot, a spaghetti stain on their robes. They're just pristine, right? Well, I don't see them all that way. I see them sometimes as rogue and more human and more like, oh gosh, I got to go help this idiot again. Because again, they're helping humans, right?
Yes.
And sometimes you can't be way above humans to know what humans need.
Right.
So,
well, that's a great point.
So I believe they're kind of sometimes not a mixed match, but
held on a pedestal.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I'm not going to, again, you know, I know that some of them are they are beautiful. Yes, they are beautiful. But I also believe they're not all that way. But Michael will give you a pretty good indication of it because he wants to help. But after a while, he's like, damn, people, quit asking me.
This was before I was atheistic at the time, but I was doing one of those poetry competitions, and it was angels and demons. And the odd thing is, I never saw any of these shows, but the whole gist of the writing was this like defunct angel almost essentially argumentating like how he's going to flip these people on the edge of being bad or good. And like, I'm gonna have to make him do this. I'm gonna have to get him to do that. Like, and I had no idea. And then fast forward 10 years and I'm studying and I'm talking, you know, it's just weird. It's weird how it's peppered in my timeline. I just couldn't see it at all.
Life is very, very intriguing. You know, my favorite perfume the name of it is actually Angel and Demons. And I'm like, how come this is my favorite perfume?
Oh my God. That's kind of awesome though.
It is. And which is, you know, I mean, it makes sense, I guess, in a very odd way.
Well,
yeah. So if you're bored and you haven't had a chance to watch Michael, it's about real life, just real life.
And we're out here living it. So
we're out here living every bit of it. You bet. Get mud in my shoes going out to the driveway just like you do. You know, we're all living it.
Drop our coffee, all of it.
All of it.
I love you so, so much. I hope you have a wonderful week. What is today?
I hope you do. It's
today Wednesday.
Yes.
It's
a wonderful day to have a wonderful Wednesday. So let's
I love you. Take care. I'll see you next week.
Yes, we'll all be here. All of us. People, don't forget. Get your coffees and sit on down and listen to what we've got to say.
Yes. And follow us on YouTube We are actually about to be on Twitter, so I'm trying to get that going. It's so hard. I will say this. It is hard to, when you're not a social media person in my own life, to learn how to really stay on top of it, but I am learning. We're getting
You're
there.
amazing at it. You know, I'm
Well,
still
thank
working
you.
on my keyboard. I've got a wireless keyboard now. It's pretty exciting.
Hey, look at us. We literally, we're getting technologically sound right in time to not need it for a while.
For a long time. I know it's pretty exciting. That's funny.
I love you.
I love you too. And
I'll
you'll
see you.
get some rest, get some happiness, and go help, okay?
Yes. And some downtime if you need it.
Downtime if you need it. That's exactly
Love you.
right.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.